One Piece chapter 1008. Hands down, man. I was so damn shocked. It was Kanjuro. Like, I was like, man, there's no way Oda can bring Oden back. But I was like, hey, I mean, it is one of those things where, Oda can pull an okie doke on us, man. I got so caught up in the moment, man. Kanjuro, this man, hands down, got to go to hell for what he just did. That is so despicable. Like, the fact that you are mimicking Oden's mannerisms. You're basically mocking his legacy by pulling something like this. And you're playing this trick on people that used to be your comrades. Like, I understand his motivation. Don't get me wrong. I understand the motivations. To a certain extent, I actually sympathize with them. And it is one of those things where it kind of speaks volumes to the fact that Oda was even able to get that type of reaction out of me. So I do give him props for that. But it's one of those things where watching as you got the scabbards and you see the tears in the eyes, that broke me, man. That broke me because I was like, oh, this is about to be awesome. And then you get this moment where all of a sudden Asha's like, yo, not so fast. That's a fake. And then you got Raizo, and Raizo's recalling the words that Toki said, that mankind can't return to the past. And in that moment, I went, oh shit, this is Kanjuro. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. And we get the revelation where Kiku basically says, I failed to finish Kanjuro off for good. And I like this because what it shows you is the human aspect to this whole situation, because it's one of those things where they were comrades for so long. They went through so much together. Even after everything that Kanjuro did, you still can't shake off all of those years where you were comrades, where you're sharing food together, where you're fighting side by side, where you're facing life and death together, those feelings and emotions that you felt. I feel like this is hands down one of Oda's best characterizations that we gotten for any of the scabbards. I love that. I cannot wait until I get caught up, because that is one thing I am going to likely do a video essay on. I love the journey that we've had with Kiku and Kinemon and with Kanjuro. I love this little trio right here. This is so fucking nice. So I got to say, that was kind of cool to see that. And I like how in that moment when Kinemon just snaps after the explosion's going off, and you see how the painting that was basically Oden is having to raise swords up against the scabbards. You have this moment where Kinemon just shouts out Kanjuro's name. And he's like, that's it. That's it. I'm whooping your ass. And it's just the intense expression on Kinemon's face, where you have Kinemon with all that shading and you got the veins popping out of his neck. The man's rushing right towards Kanjuro. He's like, I'm about to whoop all types of ass. And then that's when Jack shows up. And we get this moment where Jack is staring everything down. We got the moment where Kinemon and the scabbards are told, leave this to me. Because Dogstorm shows up. He's like, leave this to me. I'm going to handle fighting against Jack. Don't worry about it. And you see as the scabbards just take off because they're trying to get their way over to Momo. And what I like right here is that Oda then shifts over and we see that there's a fire. And when you see that ugly ass shadow and you see the teeth, them big old snaggle teeth, it's in that moment where I was like, my God, Orochi is actually alive. And from the fact that from a mythological standpoint, it makes sense, because you got Orochi in the myth with the, I believe it's an 8-headed snake or something like that. It kind of makes sense that he's actually alive. I thought he was dead, though. Like, I was so happy when this dude got killed. But the fact that he's still alive, I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of understand where Oda's taking this. It would be a little too soon to take out Orochi. However, I personally wanted him to stay dead. But I kind of understand from the storytelling aspect why you do it. Because when you have a chapter like this and it's flowing so well, this was that time where you needed to basically inject a little bit of shock into the readers in order to really get over the fact that we're getting ready to transition over to Momo with a little bit of setup, and you build up towards that climax of Luffy staring down Big Mom and Kaido. I understand why that was done, because it's just showing that there are more pieces being put on the table. And what I like also is the fact that, we have this moment where Yamato, she's talking to Momo and she says that it threw me off for a second because your powers work exactly like my father's. And Momo basically, as he's riding on her back, he's like, if only I could turn to a monster like him, it would be such help to everyone. And what that's saying right there is that we're likely going to see Momo join in the battle. That's inevitable. That is being set up. And so I like that even though the father isn't coming back from the dead to be able to fight against Kaido, the son's going to be able to do it. And I like how one of the last panels that you see in this chapter, in the last few pages, is how you have Momo speak that line. And then that kind of bookends with the fact that in the beginning of the chapter, you saw what appeared to be Oden, and the chapter closes off with Luffy being the one that is fighting against Kaido and Big Mom. I thought that was a nice bookend and nice storytelling right there. And I have to say, there's also a moment in here where you see that Luffy just built different. Like, Luffy built different. Like, Zoro and Kid, they sitting there, they huffing, puffing. Zoro look like he's been to hell and back. Kid looks like he's just basically ready to fall over. They're saying that their attacks haven't done anything. Luffy just stands up and he's like, look, the attacks are working. All of these attacks, they had to have some type of effect. They're human just like us. And before anybody can say anything, Luffy just springs out towards them. And what I like right here is that you have a moment where Killer's thinking like, wait a second, I'm amazed that he can even call them the same species as us. And it's so crazy because when you look at Big Mom and Kaido, they're so dominating of a presence. And the way that that page spread at the end has them taking up the most amount of space, it does make you look at it and say, my God, they're not human. And when the text says it looks like we're in hell, that just adds further to the fact that we're dealing with creatures. People that are so powerful that you can't fathom the fact that they very well could be so strong that you would think no human could be this strong. However, Luffy understands this is a mountain that they have to eventually climb over. And to become the king of the pirates, there's no shortcut. So I like that right there, that Luffy has those big balls. And the way that Luffy, as Kid and Law and Zoro all come to the conclusion that they got to split them up, Luffy's like, yo, it's okay if we in hell. I've been to hell a few times and I came back a few times. It's home territory for me. It's home field advantage, baby. The way Luffy talking that shit, I like that. And what I like about the way that Kaido's drawn, especially when you got the shading portion with his eyes, I love that because Luffy's being acknowledged right now. Like, I just love that Luffy in this moment is being acknowledged by that crazy son of a bitch Kaido. This is so great right here. This is really great. Again, it's still blowing me away. Like, I have moments where I just stop and I have to pinch myself because I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that that little kid that Shanks was making fun of in chapter 1 of One Piece about not being able to drink and that he needs to drink milk and etc., drink juice, basically saying your balls ain't dropped, you can't become part of my crew. Basically, that little kid is now swapping hands with 2 of the 4 emperors. This is so fucking beautiful, man. Like, I cannot wait for that day we finally see Luffy and Shanks swap hands. I think that that's a foregone conclusion. Luffy and Shanks are probably going to be at Laugh Tale together. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you guys agree with Luffy that their attacks are having an impact on Kaido and Big Mom? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.